My parents secretly used my credit card to book a $15,000 Europe trip for my golden child sister. So, I reported it as fraud, sparking family drama that pushed me to go no contact. This isn't just a story about a massive betrayal. It's about the brutal moment I realized my own parents, the people who were supposed to protect me, were actually stealing from me to fund my sister's lavish life. The sting of injustice, the raw shock, it's a feeling I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, but it's a story I have to tell, because standing up for myself changed absolutely everything. My name is Ryan, and for 28 years, I lived under the suffocating shadow of my younger sister, Amanda. We grew up in a quiet suburban home in Lexington, Massachusetts, a house my parents were incredibly proud of. But from the moment Amanda arrived, just 3 years after me, it was clear she held a place in their hearts that I could never, ever reach. Our old photo albums are proof, dozens, of pictures of Amanda's first steps, her first smile, her first day of preschool. My baby photos? Sparse. Oh, we were just busier when you were little, Ryan, my mom, Diana, would always say. But, as the years piled on, the pattern became undeniable. It showed up most clearly in school. An A- in advanced math for me would earn a frown from my father, Thomas. Why wasn't it an A+? The Jefferson boy got a perfect score, didn't he? He'd say, always finding someone better. But Amanda? A B+ in regular math was cause for celebration. Her paper went straight to the fridge. Amanda tried her best, and that's what matters, my mom would coo, rubbing my sister's shoulder, shooting me a look that dared me to comment. This unequal treatment seeped into everything. New clothes for me meant discount stores, with constant reminders to check price tags. For Amanda, it was trips to the mall, bags from all the brand-name stores. Your sister is a growing girl, my father would explain, as if I wasn't also, growing. The worst part? My 10th grade science fair project won first place regionally, sending me to the state level. My parents skipped the regional, too busy with work. The state competition fell on the same day as Amanda's middle school choir concert. Guess where they went? I stood alone, accepting my second place medal, while they sat beaming in the audience for Amanda, who was literally in the back row of a 30-person choir. It crushed me. Still, I never stopped trying to earn their approval. I joined every academic club, maintained a 4.0 GPA, even broke a school record on the varsity track team. My trophy gathered dust on my bedroom shelf. Amanda's participation ribbons from a brief stint in gymnastics, front and center in the living room. When college applications rolled around, I got into prestigious universities, including MIT. Their response: those schools are too expensive. The state university is perfectly fine. Meanwhile, they started a college fund for Amanda, who was 2 years away from applying. Your sister will probably want an Ivy League school, my father declared. We need to be prepared. At 18, I moved out, attending Boston University on a partial scholarship, working 2 part-time jobs to cover the rest. While my classmates had a typical college experience, I juggled classes with shifts at the campus coffee shop and weekend work at a local tech startup. That startup job eventually became my career in software engineering. During college and my early career, I kept my family at arm's length. Holiday visits were always tense, my parents barely acknowledging my life before redirecting the conversation back to Amanda's latest achievements, which somehow grew more exaggerated every year. Amanda made the dean's list this semester, my mom would announce, conveniently leaving out that Amanda had dropped half her classes mid-semester. By 26, I was leading a development team at a promising tech company, earning a 6-figure salary. My financial independence gave me a flicker of hope. Maybe now, having proven myself, they'd finally see my worth. Amanda, meanwhile, had bounced between 5 different majors, graduated with a general studies degree, and was still living at home at 25, working part-time at a boutique, quitting whenever it got too stressful. My parents, naturally, subsidized her entire life. Despite my success, family gatherings still revolved around Amanda. A promotion for me, a polite nod, then, Amanda, tell us about your latest hobby. I tried not to let it bother me, reminding myself I'd built a life on my own terms. A nice apartment, investments, friends who valued me. But that childhood wound of favoritism, it never truly healed. Last year, I finally started therapy. Dr. Martinez helped me understand this dynamic wasn't my fault. She encouraged me to set healthier boundaries. You can't change them, she'd say, but you can change how you respond. I was making progress, learning to validate myself. Little did I know, that newfound strength was about to be tested in a way I never could have imagined. Last November, Thanksgiving rolled around. I drove to their house, bringing an expensive bottle of wine, a homemade apple pie, trying to be the perfect son. That familiar knot tightened in my stomach as I pulled into the driveway, but I took a deep breath, recalling Dr. Martinez's advice. Set realistic expectations. You're visiting out of choice, not obligation. You can leave whenever you need to. The first hour was surprisingly normal. My mother complimented the wine, my father asked about my job, and Amanda was actually helping in the kitchen. Maybe this time will be different, I thought. Maybe we can finally have a normal family holiday. Then, as we sat down for dinner, Amanda cleared her throat dramatically. I have an announcement. Her eyes sparkled. I've decided what I want to do next year. My parents leaned forward, completely captivated. I watched my father's face light up with an eagerness I'd rarely seen directed at me. I want to go on a European tour, she declared. 3 months, visiting all the major cities, London, Paris, Rome, Barcelona. I found this amazing custom package. It includes everything. My mother clapped her hands. Oh, sweetheart, that sounds wonderful. What a cultural experience. My father's face, though, held a flicker of concern. That sounds expensive, princess. How much are we talking about? Amanda replied casually, as if discussing a new pair of shoes, around $15,000. But it includes everything. Flights, hotels, tours. It's practically a bargain. My parents exchanged a look I couldn't quite decipher. Worry, yes, but also a steely determination. My father nodded, and my mother squeezed Amanda's hand. We'll figure something out, she promised. You deserve to explore the world. I couldn't help but think about how I'd saved for 3 years just to afford a 2-week trip to Japan after college. When I'd mentioned my plans during a family dinner, my father had lectured me about fiscal responsibility and investing in my future, not wasting money on vacations. Pushing down that bitter memory, I decided to share my own good news. I actually just got promoted to Senior Development Manager, I said. It came with a nice bonus and stock options. That's nice, dear, my mother replied, her attention already drifting back to Amanda. Now, Amanda, tell us more about this tour. Which city are you most excited about? Just like that, the conversation returned to its natural state, all about Amanda. I sat quietly, finishing my meal as my sister detailed her travel plans. My father asked thoughtful questions, my mother suggested shopping destinations. I left earlier than planned, claiming work the next day. No one seemed particularly disappointed to see me go. The following weeks were a blur of work. We were prepping for a major product launch, long hours. Dinner at my desk, collapsing into bed. It was during this hectic period, about 3 weeks after Thanksgiving, that I finally sat down on a Sunday evening to pay my bills. As I scrolled through my credit card transactions, my heart nearly stopped. There it was. A charge for $15,240 from Global Expeditions Travel. I never heard of this company, let alone authorized such an enormous charge. My first thought, my card had been stolen. With shaking hands, I called the credit card company's fraud line. The representative confirmed my identity and pulled up the transaction. This charge was processed on November 27th, she explained. It appears to have been made over the phone. The cardholder provided the card number, expiration date, security code, and the billing address. Absolutely not, I said, my voice firm. I never used this card for travel, and I certainly didn't authorize a $15,000 charge. She took down the details of my dispute and suggested I contact the merchant directly while they began their investigation. First thing Monday morning, I called Global Expeditions Travel. After navigating their automated system, I reached a cheerful travel agent named Brianna. I need information about a charge on my credit card, I explained. Let me look that up for you, she said. After a moment of clicking, yes, I see the booking. This was for the custom European Grand Tour package for Amanda Wilson, departing next May 3 months, 8 countries. It's one of our premium offerings. My blood ran cold. Amanda Wilson? That's my sister. I did not authorize this booking. Brianna sounded confused. The booking was made by Thomas and Diana Wilson. They provided all the payment information and said they were booking on behalf of their daughter. Thomas and Diana Wilson. My parents. My own parents had somehow obtained my credit card information and used it to book Amanda's dream European vacation. Without my knowledge. Without my permission. Can you tell me exactly when this booking was made? I asked, struggling to keep my voice steady. It was the Friday after Thanksgiving, Brianna replied. The clients called in the morning and spent about an hour finalizing all the details. The Friday after Thanksgiving. The day after I had visited their house. Somehow, during that visit, they had gotten access to my credit card information. My mind raced, replaying every moment. Had I left my wallet unattended? Had they gone through my things? Is there a cancellation policy? I asked. I'm afraid this package has a non-refundable deposit of $5,000, Brianna explained. The remaining balance could be refunded if canceled more than 60 days before departure. I thanked her and ended the call, my mind spinning with disbelief and betrayal. How could they do this to me? What gave them the right to steal my card information and charge thousands of dollars? Without my consent, I sat at my kitchen table, staring at my phone, trying to process what had happened. This wasn't just favoritism anymore. This was theft. This was fraud. This was a complete violation of trust and boundaries that I could never have imagined, even from them. With a deep breath, my hand shaking with a mixture of rage and hurt that felt like it might consume me whole, I dialed my parents' number. It rang 4 times before my mother answered, her voice cheerful. Ryan, what a nice surprise. We don't usually hear from you on a Monday morning. Mom, I said, struggling to keep my voice steady. I need to talk to you and Dad about something important. Is he there? There was a slight pause. Yes, he's here. Is everything all right? You sound upset. Put the phone on speaker, I requested. I need to talk to both of you. I heard shuffling. Then my father's voice. Ryan, what's going on? Taking another deep breath, I asked, did you use my credit card to book a $15,000 European trip for Amanda? The silence that followed was deafening. I could practically feel the tension through the phone. Well, my father finally said, his tone defensive. We were going to tell you about that. We just borrowed your card information for the booking. We're planning to pay you back, of course. Borrowed, I repeated, incredulously. You stole my credit card information and charged $15,000 without my knowledge or consent. That is not borrowing, Dad. That is theft. And fraud. Don't be so dramatic, Ryan. My mother interjected. We're family. Amanda really needed this trip. She's been so stressed lately, and this European tour will be life-changing for her. We were going to work out the payment details with you later. Later, I could feel my blood pressure rising. When exactly were you planning to tell me that you charged $15,000 to my card? When the bill came. When I noticed it myself. Or maybe, when Amanda was already in Europe? We knew you would react like this, my father said dismissively. That's why we were waiting for the right time to discuss it. Look, we'll pay you back eventually. Your sister really wants this trip, and we promised we'd make it happen. How did you even get my credit card information? I demanded. Another pause. Then my mother spoke, her voice small. When you were in the bathroom during Thanksgiving, your wallet was on the counter by the door. Your father just took a quick photo of your card. We knew you wouldn't miss the money with your big salary and all those bonuses you mentioned. I felt sick. They had deliberately gone through my wallet while I was a guest in their home. They had planned this, waiting for an opportunity to steal my financial information. You need to cancel this booking immediately, I said firmly. Today, and have the full amount refunded to my card. We cannot do that, Ryan, my father replied, his voice hardening. The deposit is non-refundable, and Amanda has already told all her friends about the trip. She'd be devastated if we canceled. Now, that is not my problem, I insisted. You made this decision without my consent. You committed fraud. I want the charge reversed immediately, or I will report it to my credit card company as fraud, which is exactly what it is. You would do that to your own family? My mother gasped. After everything we've done for you. I almost laughed at the absurdity. What exactly have you done for me, Mom? I put myself through college. I built my career without any help from either of you. And now you steal my credit card information and expect me to just accept it? I heard muffled voices. Then Amanda's voice came through the speaker. Ryan, why are you being so selfish? This trip is really important to me. It's not like you can't afford it. You make so much money, and what do you even spend it on? Your empty apartment, your boring life. The familiar pain of being the outsider in my own family washed over me. But this time it was accompanied by something new, absolute clarity. This wasn't just about money. This was about a lifetime of being treated as less than, of having my boundaries violated, of being expected to sacrifice for a sister who had never been asked to give anything in return. I am giving you 24 hours to contact the travel agency and cancel this booking, I said, my voice calm, almost unnervingly so. If the charge is not reversed by this time tomorrow, I will report it as fraud to my credit card company and let them handle it. You would send your own parents to jail over this? My father demanded. I would hold my parents accountable for stealing $15,000 from me. I corrected. The choice is yours. You have always been jealous of your sister, my mother said, her voice trembling with anger. Always trying to ruin things for her. I thought you had outgrown that childish behavior, but I guess I was wrong. 24 hours, I repeated, then ended the call. Within minutes, my phone began buzzing. Text messages from my Aunt Caroline. How could you do this? To your sister? My Uncle Brian. Your parents are devastated. Call them back and apologize. My cousin Patrick. Dude, just let your sister have her trip. Why be a jerk about it? Apparently, my parents had immediately started spreading their version of events to the extended family, painting me as the villain trying to ruin Amanda's dream trip out of spite. According to them, I had somehow promised to help pay for the trip and was now backing out. I turned off my phone, unable to deal with the barrage of accusations. My chest felt tight, and I struggled to breathe normally. I had never stood up to my family like this before, and the backlash was immediate and overwhelming. That night, I barely slept. Part of me wanted to give in, to just accept the charge and avoid the conflict. It would be easier in the short term. But another part of me, the part that had been working with Dr. Martinez on setting healthy boundaries, knew that if I backed down now, nothing would ever change. This would just be the first of many financial violations. By morning, my phone had dozens of missed calls and unread messages. None of them were apologies or notifications of a canceled booking. As the 24-hour deadline approached, I realized my parents had called my bluff, confident that family loyalty would prevent me from taking real action. They didn't know the man I had become. As the 24-hour deadline passed with no resolution, I sat at my kitchen table, phone and laptop open. Before me, my hands were steady, but my heart raced as I dialed the number for my credit card company again. This time, I asked to be connected directly to the fraud department. I need to report a fraudulent charge on my account, I told the representative, a woman named Melissa who spoke with quiet efficiency. I can help you with that, she assured me. Can you identify the specific transaction? I provided the details of the $15,000 charge, then took a deep breath. I know who made the unauthorized charge. It was my parents. They took a photo of my credit card during a family visit and used the information to book a vacation for my sister without my knowledge or consent. There was a brief pause on the line. When Melissa spoke again, her voice was gentler, as if she understood the emotional weight of what I was doing. I see. That must be a difficult situation. Can you walk me through how you discovered the fraud and any conversations you've had about it? For the next 20 minutes, I detailed everything. Finding the charge, contacting the travel agency, confronting my parents, and giving them the opportunity to make it right. Melissa took detailed notes, occasionally asking clarifying questions. Thank you for being so thorough, she said when I finished. I'm going to file this as a family fraud case. Unfortunately, these are more common than people realize. We will begin our investigation immediately and temporarily remove the charge from your account while we work on this. What happens next? I asked. We will contact the merchant and your parents as part of our investigation, Melissa explained. This may take up to 30 days to resolve fully, given that you have identified the perpetrators. and they have essentially admitted to using your card without authorization, I expect the permanent reversal will be approved. You should know that in cases like this, the card issuer may choose to pursue recovery from the individuals who committed the fraud. You mean my parents could face legal consequences? I asked, my stomach tightening. That is a possibility, she confirmed. When fraud exceeds $10,000, it often crosses into territory where our legal team becomes involved. I cannot predict exactly what will happen, but you should be prepared for that possibility. After completing the fraud report, I felt a strange mixture of relief and dread. The weight of the financial burden had been lifted, but I knew the family fallout was just beginning. As if on cue, my phone began ringing. Amanda's name flashed on the screen. I declined the call, but she immediately called back. After the fourth attempt, I reluctantly answered. How could you? She sobbed into the phone. I just got a call from the travel agency saying my trip is canceled due to a fraud investigation. Do you know how embarrassing that is? I already told everyone about this trip. I already planned my whole year around it. Amanda, I said quietly, did you know they used my credit card without my permission? They said you wouldn't mind, she cried. They said they would work it out with you. Why are you being so mean about this? It's just money to you. It's not just about the money, I tried to explain. It's about respect and boundaries. They stole from me, Amanda. They committed fraud. It's not stealing when it's family, she insisted. You're just being selfish and petty, trying to punish me because you've always been jealous of me. Mama's crying her eyes out right now. Dad says, you've broken her heart. Is that what you wanted? Before I could respond, another call came through. My mother. I told Amanda I had to go and switch to the incoming call. Ryan Wilson, my mother began, her voice quavering dramatically. I did not raise you to treat your family this way. Do you know what you have done? The travel agency called us. They said there's a fraud investigation. They said we could be in serious trouble. I gave you a chance to make it right, I reminded her. You chose not to take it. We are your parents. We have given you everything. And this is how you repay us? By trying to get us arrested over a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? I repeated. You took a photo of my credit card without my knowledge. You charged $15,000 without my permission. When I confronted you, you refused to make it right. That is not a misunderstanding, Mom. That is a deliberate violation. Your father wants to speak to you, she said coldly. My father's voice came through, low and threatening. You listen to me, son. You need to call that credit card company right now and tell them this was all a mistake. Tell them you approved the charge. If you don't fix this immediately, you are going to destroy this family. I did not destroy this family, I replied, surprising myself with how calm I sounded. You and Mom did that when you decided that stealing from me was acceptable, when you decided that Amanda's desires were more important than my basic right not to be defrauded by my own parents. You ungrateful little. He didn't finish the sentence, but I could hear him breathing heavily. This is not over. You have no idea what you have started. After he hung up, the calls and texts from extended family members intensified. Most took my parents' side, berating me for being selfish and dramatic. A few seemed uncertain, asking for my side of the story, but clearly skeptical that my parents could have done something so wrong. Only one relative reached out with genuine support. My cousin Ethan, who had himself distanced from the family years ago for reasons he'd never fully explained. Hey Ryan, his text read, heard about what happened. Unlike everyone else, I believe you. My dad did something similar to me years ago. If you need someone to talk to who gets it, I'm here. That simple message meant more than I could express. I called Ethan immediately, and we talked for over an hour. He understood the dysfunctional dynamics, the golden child syndrome, the expectation that I should sacrifice for Amanda without question. For the first time, I didn't feel completely alone. That evening, I called my best friend, Marcus, and explained everything. Marcus had witnessed some of my family's behavior over the years and had often questioned why I maintained contact. I know, this is hard, he said after listening to the full story, but I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. They crossed a major line, and you had every right to report it. Don't let them manipulate you into thinking otherwise. The stress began affecting my work. I couldn't focus, checking my phone constantly for updates or more angry messages. After making a significant error in some code, I decided to take an emergency mental health day. During that day off, I researched family estrangement and financial abuse. The stories I read from others who had experienced similar violations helped me realize what my parents had done was not normal or acceptable, regardless of how they tried to frame it. I also made an emergency appointment with Dr. Martinez, who helped me process the complex emotions. What you are feeling is grief, she explained. You are grieving the parents you deserved but never had. You are grieving the family relationship you hoped might eventually develop. That grief is real and valid. A week after filing the fraud report, I received confirmation the investigation was proceeding and the charge had been permanently removed from my account. They also issued me a new card as a security measure. I felt a small sense of victory, but I knew the war was far from over. 2 weeks after I reported the fraud, the credit card company completed their initial investigation. They not only reversed the charges permanently, but also informed me they had decided to pursue the case further. My parents would be receiving official notification from the card issuer's legal department regarding the fraudulent use of my card. Melissa called me personally. I wanted to let you know, she said. In cases involving family members, these situations can become complicated. The notification will explain that they unlawfully obtained and used your credit card information for a significant purchase without authorization. It will outline potential consequences, which could include financial penalties and, in severe cases, criminal charges. Are they likely to face criminal charges? I asked, conflicted about the escalation despite everything they had done. It depends on several factors, Melissa explained. If they cooperate fully, make restitution for any fees incurred, and there is no pattern of similar behavior, the company might choose not to pursue criminal charges. However, I should be transparent that fraud of this magnitude is taken very seriously. After the call, a text message from my Aunt Regina, my mother's oldest sister, the family is gathering at your parents' house this Saturday to discuss the situation with you. Be there at 2 p.m. It is time you heard how your actions are affecting everyone. I responded simply, I will not be attending. This is between me, my parents, and the credit card company now. Please respect my decision. The response was immediate. Your absence will only confirm what everyone already thinks about you. If you cared about this family at all, you would come and face what you have done. I turned off my phone for the rest of the day, unable to deal with the continued manipulation and guilt tactics. When I turned it back on the next morning, I had a voicemail from an unknown number. It was Amanda. Ryan, it's me. I'm outside your apartment. Open the door. We need to talk right now. I checked through my peephole. Sure enough, Amanda was standing in the hallway, arms crossed, foot tapping. Impatiently, against my better judgment, I opened the door, but blocked the entrance. What are you doing here, Amanda? How did you even know where I live? Mom and Dad gave me your address, she said, pushing past me into my apartment before I could stop her. We need to talk about what you are doing to our family. I am not doing anything to our family, I replied, closing the door. Mom and Dad committed fraud. They are facing the consequences of their actions. Amanda spun around, her eyes red from crying, but her expression fierce. Do you have any idea what is happening? Dad got a letter from the credit card company. They are threatening legal action. Mom can barely get out of bed from the stress. And it is all because you cannot let me have one good thing. This is not about you having one good thing, I said, trying to keep my voice level. This is about our parents stealing my financial information and charging $15,000 without my consent. Would you be okay with someone doing that to you? They are our parents, she shouted. They have given us everything, and now you are trying to get them arrested because you are jealous that they wanted to do something special for me. I took a deep breath. Amanda, there is something you need to understand. What they did was illegal. It was wrong. No amount of family loyalty changes that fact. She paced my living room, running her hands through her hair in frustration. You don't get it. They are in serious financial trouble now because of you. Because of me? I repeated. How exactly is their financial trouble my fault? Because, she hesitated, then seemed to deflate slightly. Because they already spent so much on me. They remortgaged the house last year to pay off my credit cards and car loan. They took out a Second mortgage 3 months ago because I needed to pay back some friends who loaned me money. They don't have any more credit available. Your card was their last option for my trip. I stared at her, stunned by this revelation. So, they were in financial trouble because they kept bailing her out, and their solution was to steal from me. They were desperate, she defended, and they knew you could afford it. You're the one with the fancy job and all the money. Would it really have hurt you to help your sister just this once? If they had asked me for help, that would have been different, I pointed out. But they didn't ask. They stole my card information and committed fraud. And from what you are telling me, this is part of a pattern of financial irresponsibility that has been going on for years. This is all your fault, Amanda insisted, tears streaming down her face. If you had just let this go, everyone would be happy. Now the whole family is being torn apart, and mom and dad might go to jail, and it's all because you are too selfish to help your own sister. I think you should leave, I said quietly. This conversation is not productive. Fine, she spat, heading for the door. But know this. If anything happens to mom and dad because of this, I will never forgive you. Never. And neither will anyone else in the family. After Amanda left, I sat down at my computer, still processing the information about my parents' financial situation. An email notification popped up, a message from my father. The subject line, "What you have done to this family." Against my better judgment, I opened it. The message was brief. Your mother can barely function because of what you have done. I hope you are satisfied with yourself. We only wanted to give your sister the opportunity you always had. We sacrificed everything for you growing up, and this is how you repay us. Attached to the email was a document, a scanned image of my credit card, front and back, with my father's handwriting visible in the margins, noting the card number, expiration date, and security code. I stared at the image in disbelief. My father had just sent me digital evidence of the credit card theft. Without hesitation, I forwarded the email to Melissa at the fraud department, adding a brief note. I received this email from my father today. As you can see, it contains evidence of how they obtained my credit card information. Her response came within hours. Thank you for forwarding this. This will be added to our case file. Based on this new evidence, our legal team will likely proceed with a more formal investigation. Please continue to forward any relevant communications. 2 days later, my parents received an official warning letter from the credit card company's legal department, detailing the evidence against them and outlining potential consequences. I knew this because my phone exploded with messages from relatives, all blaming me for escalating the situation. Your mother had to go to the emergency room with chest pains after getting that letter, my aunt Regina texted. Are you happy now? Is this what you wanted? The use of my mother's health as a manipulation tactic was not surprising, but it was still painful. I remembered how any time I had stood up to my parents in the past, my mother would develop mysterious ailments immediately, attributed to my difficult behavior. What was surprising was receiving a call from my Aunt Meredith, my mother's younger sister with whom I'd always had a distant but cordial relationship. Ryan, it's Aunt Meredith. Do you have a few minutes to talk? If you're calling to tell me what a terrible son I am, I said wearily. I've already heard it from pretty much everyone else. Actually, I'm calling to tell you that I believe you, she said quietly, and that I understand why you did what you did. I was so shocked I couldn't immediately respond. The favoritism between you and Amanda, it's not new, she continued. My mother did the same thing with Diana and me. Diana was always the golden child. Always got everything she wanted while I was expected to make sacrifices. When I see how they treat you compared to Amanda, it's like watching history repeat itself. I had no idea, I said. No one talks about it, Meredith explained. It's the family secret, this pattern of having a chosen one and a scapegoat. I wanted you to know that not everyone thinks you are wrong. What Diana and Thomas did was inexcusable, regardless of their intentions. She went on to reveal that my parents had a long history of financial irresponsibility, often living beyond their means and using credit to maintain appearances. They've remortgaged that house 3 times in the last decade, she told me. Not just for Amanda, though she's certainly part of it. They have this need to appear more successful than they are, to give Amanda everything she wants, regardless of cost. That conversation with Aunt Meredith was a turning point for me. For the first time, I understood that the dysfunction in my family went back generations, and that I was not the cause of it, merely the latest victim. The next day, I received formal notification from my credit card company that they had closed their investigation. They had determined conclusively that the charge was fraudulent and that I bore no responsibility for it. They also informed me that, based on the evidence, including my father's email, they had referred the case to their legal department for potential further action. A month after reporting the fraud, I received an unexpected call from an unknown number. The caller identified himself as Warren Benson, an attorney representing my parents. "Mr. Wilson, I am reaching out in hopes that we can resolve this unfortunate situation before it escalates further," he began, his tone professional, but with an undertone of condescension. "Your parents are understandably distressed by the potential legal ramifications of what they view as a simple family misunderstanding." "It was not a misunderstanding," I replied calmly. "They took photos of my credit card without permission and used it to charge $15,000 fraudulently. They admitted to doing so and refused to make it right when confronted. Family matters can be complicated," the lawyer continued smoothly. "I am sure we can find a resolution that avoids the necessity of formal legal proceedings. Your parents are prepared to sign an agreement acknowledging the impropriety of their actions and committing to a payment plan to reimburse any fees or penalties you incurred." "And the $15,000? I asked. There was a slight pause. "As I understand it, that charge has already been reversed by your credit card company. So, they want me to drop the fraud case without actually taking responsibility for the full amount. They attempted to steal," I clarified. "Mr. Wilson, these are your parents we are talking about," the lawyer said, his voice hardening slightly. "Pursuing this matter could result in serious legal consequences for them." "Is that really what you want?" I thought about it for a moment. What I wanted was for my parents to respect my boundaries and treat me with the same consideration they had always shown my sister. What I wanted was for them to acknowledge what they did wrong and make a genuine effort to make amends. Instead, they had blamed me, manipulated other family members against me, and now hired a lawyer to try to make this go away, without real accountability. "So, you are declining our offer?" he asked. "Yes, I am declining. I will not interfere with the credit card company's investigation or any resulting legal action. Your clients committed fraud. They need to face the consequences." After ending the call, I received a text from my cousin Patrick with a video attachment. "Thought you should see this family meeting about you yesterday." The video showed my extended family gathered in my parents' living room. My mother sat on the couch looking pale and fragile, my father beside her, his arm protectively around her shoulders. Amanda stood by the fireplace, gesturing dramatically as she addressed the assembled relatives. "Despite everything that is happening," she announced, "I want everyone to know that I am still going to Europe. Mom and Dad got approved for a home equity loan yesterday. They are using it to rebook my tour. I refuse to let Ryan ruin this opportunity for me." The family applauded, with several relatives casting dark glances at the camera and making comments about how this would show Ryan he cannot control us. My Aunt Regina stood up and declared, "This family takes care of its own. If Ryan doesn't want to be part of that, it is his loss." I closed the video, feeling a strange sense of clarity. My family had not learned anything from this experience. They were doubling down, taking out another loan they likely couldn't afford, all to prove some point to me about their unwavering support for Amanda. I composed a careful email, addressed to my parents, copying Amanda and a few key relatives who had been most vocal. "I have seen the video of your family meeting. I understand now that nothing will change. You are willing to go further into debt rather than acknowledge the wrong you did to me. This is not about the money anymore, if it ever was. This is about respect, boundaries, and honesty, none of which seem to matter to you when it comes to me. Going forward, I will be ceasing all contact with you. Please do not call, email, text, or show up at my home or workplace. Any further communication should go through my attorney, whose information is attached below. I hope someday you will understand the damage you have caused, not just to our relationship, but to yourselves and to Amanda, whom you have taught that rules, laws, and basic respect do not apply to her. Ryan." Within days of sending that email, I received a certified letter from my parents' lawyer. The letter claimed my actions had caused my mother severe emotional distress and threatened a lawsuit for damages if I didn't immediately contact the credit card company and withdraw my fraud claim. I forwarded the letter to a lawyer friend, Samantha, who had offered to advise me pro bono. Her response was reassuring. This is an empty threat designed to scare you. They have no legal standing to sue you for reporting a crime that they actually committed. The evidence, including your father's email with the card image, is overwhelming. My advice is to maintain no contact and let me handle any further legal communications. True to my word, I blocked my parents' phone numbers, email addresses, and social media accounts. I set up filters to automatically archive emails from extended family members who had been hostile. I informed my building security about the situation and requested that they not allow my parents or sister access to my apartment. The decision to go no contact was both painful and liberating. There was grief for the family I had always hoped we could become, but also relief at no longer subjecting myself to their manipulation and unequal treatment. Surprisingly, the no-contact decision brought unexpected support from relatives I had rarely spoken with. My great-aunt Eleanor, my grandmother's sister, reached out with a kind letter. Dear Ryan, it read, I have watched from a distance how Diana and Thomas have treated you over the years. It broke my heart, but I stayed silent, thinking it was not my place to interfere. I regret that now. What they did with your credit card was inexcusable, and your response was entirely justified. Please know that not everyone in this family thinks you are wrong. Some of us are simply quieter than others. My childhood friend, Jacob, who had known my family for years, reached out after hearing about the situation through mutual acquaintances. I always saw how differently they treated you and Amanda, he admitted. It never seemed right to me, but I didn't know what to say. I'm sorry. I never spoke up. As weeks passed, my focus shifted from the family drama to my own healing. My performance at work improved as the constant stress of managing my parents' expectations and demands faded. Dr. Martinez helped me process the grief and guilt that occasionally surfaced, reminding me that setting boundaries was not the same as abandoning family, despite what my parents claimed. Through mutual friends, I heard that my parents were actively spreading their version of events throughout our hometown community. According to them, I had promised to pay for Amanda's trip, then vindicatively reported them for fraud when I changed my mind. They painted themselves as victims of their ungrateful son, conveniently omitting the part where they stole my credit card information. Amanda did go to Europe, posting daily photos on social media of her adventures. Mutual friends would occasionally mention her posts, not realizing the pain behind the seemingly happy family story. Your sister is living her best life in Paris, a college acquaintance commented innocently. Your parents must be so proud to give her that experience. I focused on building what therapists call a chosen family, deepening relationships with friends who respected my boundaries and valued me for who I was. Marcus and his wife invited me to their family gatherings. My colleague Jasmine introduced me to her hiking group, providing weekend adventures and new friendships. Cousin Ethan and I developed a closer relationship, supporting each other through the complexity of family estrangement. When Thanksgiving came around again, the first holiday season since the rift, I declined invitations from well-meaning friends. Instead, I booked a cabin in Vermont, spending 4 peaceful days hiking, reading, and reflecting on the year's dramatic changes. It was the first holiday season in my life that was not marked by anxiety, disappointment, and the familiar pain of being the less favored child. The solitude wasn't lonely. It was healing. 6 months after cutting contact, I sat on the balcony of my new apartment, watching the sun set over the Boston skyline. The past half year had brought unexpected changes, growth, and a sense of peace I had never thought possible while entangled in my family's toxic dynamic. My career had flourished without the constant emotional drain of family drama. The focus and energy I previously spent managing my parents' expectations and dealing with their favoritism could now be channeled into my work and personal growth. My team successfully launched a major project that earned recognition throughout the company, leading to another promotion and increased responsibilities that I genuinely enjoyed. The relationships in my life had transformed as well. Without the underlying current of family-related stress and insecurity, I found myself more present and authentic with friends. People often commented on the change, noting that I seemed lighter or more confident. Dr. Martinez helped me understand that I had been carrying the weight of trying to earn conditional love for so long that I hadn't realized how heavy the burden was until I set it down. Then came an unexpected email from an address I didn't recognize. The subject line read simply, "It's Amanda. Please read." Against my better judgment, I opened it. "Ryan, I'm writing from a new email because I figured you probably blocked my old one. I've been in Europe for 3 months now, and I've had a lot of time to think about everything that happened. I owe you an apology. Being away from mom and dad, experiencing the world on my own for the first time, has opened my eyes to how messed up our family dynamic really is. I always knew they favored me, but I never understood what that meant for you until I started making friends from normal families here. What mom and dad did with your credit card was wrong. I knew it was wrong when it happened, but I was so used to them moving mountains to give me what I wanted that I convinced myself it was somehow okay. It was not okay. It was theft, and I was complicit in it. I also want to apologize for how I spoke to you at your apartment. Everything I said was unfair. You were right to report the fraud and stand up for yourself. I don't expect forgiveness, and I understand if you never want to speak to me again. I just wanted you to know that I see things clearly now, and I am sorry for my part in hurting you. Amanda." I read the email several times, unsure how to feel or respond. Part of me was skeptical, wondering if this was another manipulation tactic orchestrated by my parents, but something in the tone felt genuine, different from the entitled Amanda I had known my whole life. After discussing it with Dr. Martinez, I decided to respond with caution. "Amanda, thank you for your email. I appreciate your apology and the self-reflection it represents. This has been a difficult time, and I am still processing everything that happened. I hope your travels are giving you the perspective and independence you need. Take care, Ryan." Her reply came quickly. "Thank you for responding. I understand your caution. For what it is worth, Mom and Dad don't know I'm contacting you. I'm actually not speaking to them much right now." After seeing how other families work, I realized how unhealthy our dynamic is. I'm planning to get my own apartment when I return instead of moving back home. If you ever feel ready to talk more, I would like that, but I respect whatever boundaries you need. Over the next few weeks, Amanda and I exchanged occasional emails. Her tone was different than it had ever been before, more thoughtful, less entitled. She shared stories about her travels that focused on what she was learning about herself rather than the material experiences. She asked questions about my life and actually seemed interested in the answers. For the first time in our lives, we were having conversations as equals, rather than as the golden child and the scapegoat. As my 29th birthday approached, I received an email notification that someone had attempted to contact me through my website's contact form, my parents trying to bypass my email filters. The message was brief. "It's your birthday next week. We would like to see you. Please call home." I did not respond. Instead, I maintained my boundaries, spending my birthday weekend on a camping trip with friends who truly celebrated me. The distance from my parents allowed me to recognize that their attempts at contact were not about genuine reconciliation, but about regaining control. Through my Aunt Meredith, I learned that my parents were facing significant financial consequences from their actions. The credit card company had pursued the fraud case, resulting in financial penalties and a settlement agreement that strained their already precarious finances. They were now facing the possibility of foreclosure on their home due to the multiple mortgages and home equity loans they had taken out over the years. While I took no pleasure in their financial troubles, I recognized that they were experiencing the natural consequences of their own choices. For perhaps the first time in their lives, they could not manipulate or charm their way out of the situation they had created. Amanda returned from Europe in July, and true to her word, she did not move back into our parents' home. Instead, she rented a small studio apartment and found a job as an administrative assistant at a local business, her first full-time position since college. We met for coffee, an awkward but ultimately productive meeting where we began the slow process of establishing a new kind of sibling relationship. I never understood what it was like for you growing up, she admitted during our second meeting. I was so caught up in being the favorite that I never questioned why mom and dad treated us so differently. I'm sorry I participated in that dynamic. Rather than offering financial help, which would have perpetuated old patterns, I offered to help. Amanda developed financial literacy skills. We met weekly to go over budgeting basics, credit management, and saving strategies, all things our parents had never taught either of us. It was strange to be the older brother in a real sense for the first time, but also rewarding to see Amanda taking responsibility for her life. My personal growth continued as well. I began dating Sophia, a graphic designer I met through a mutual friend. Unlike previous relationships where I had been drawn to people who recreated the conditional love dynamic of my childhood, this relationship was based on mutual respect and healthy boundaries. When I eventually shared my family story with Sophia, her response was validating rather than doubtful. What your parents did was wrong on every level, she stated simply. You deserved better, and I am proud of you for standing up for yourself. Meeting Sophia's family was a revelation. Their interactions were respectful, with disagreements handled through discussion rather than manipulation. Her parents treated both Sophia and her brother with equal affection and support, something I had never witnessed in my own family. Being welcomed into their home showed me what healthy family dynamics could look like. As I approached the one-year mark of going no contact with my parents, I reflected on everything that had changed. The financial violation that had seemed so devastating at the time had ultimately been the catalyst for profound positive change in my life. By standing firm in my boundaries, I had broken free from a lifelong pattern of being devalued and exploited by the people who should have protected me. Dr. Martinez helped me understand that family relationships should be based on mutual respect, not obligation or blood ties alone. Family should add to your life, not diminish it, she often reminded me. Sometimes the healthiest choice is to step away from relationships that consistently harm you, even when those relationships are with parents. I still experienced moments of doubt and grief, particularly around holidays or family-oriented events. But those moments became less frequent and less intense as I built a life filled with people who valued me for who I was, not what I could provide or how I made them look. The most important lesson I learned through this painful experience was that self-respect is not selfish. Setting boundaries is not cruel. And sometimes the greatest act of self-love is walking away from people who cannot or will not treat you with basic dignity and respect, even when those people are family. Today, I am building a life based on authentic connections rather than obligation or guilt. I am learning what it means to be valued for who I am, not what I can provide. And I am discovering that family can be chosen, built on foundations of mutual respect and genuine care rather than simply shared DNA. If you have ever found yourself in a situation where family members violate your boundaries or treat you as less worthy than others, know that you have every right to protect yourself. Standing up for yourself might be painted as selfish or ungrateful by those who benefit from your sacrifice, but that doesn't make it wrong. In fact, it might be the most important step toward building the life you deserve. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Have you ever had to make a difficult decision to protect yourself from family members who crossed your boundaries? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story might help someone else find the courage to stand up for themselves. Thank you for listening, and remember, you deserve to be treated with respect, no matter who is on the other side of the equation.